Come here. Big. What is going on, everybody? Mario here in Fighting Exchange, in Fighting FX, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and IG. TikTok in just a bit. We'll go live on TikTok here in just a bit. All right. What's going on, everybody? We got a great show today. We're going to finish the topics that we had yesterday. If you got to tap in, I'm kind of getting into it really quickly. First of all, we got Shoe Shine coming through in just a bit. We also have topics in boxing, MMA, and wrestling. But today, the main focus is going to be on everything going down. I mean, it's going down, down, down. Dana White did Bloomberg. He said some pretty wild things. He said he wanted to blow all the promoters out of the water, or that he was going to blow all of the boxing promoters out of the water. And listen, this is it, guys. This is it. If you are a boxing fan, this is the civil war that we've been waiting to break out for years. This is the Cold War. These are the repercussions of the Cold War that we had all those years ago. And I don't know what the fuck that was. I just heard a bunch of dogs barking. So listen, this is it. This is it. You know what I mean? Like we for the last decade and a half, perhaps longer, we saw the sport in a way that no one thought it could sustain. No one thought it was sustainable, and it wasn't. And brilliant people like Michael Woods, and several others throughout the year, they said it. It's a bubble that's gonna pop. He's gonna blow the promoters. Yeah, dude. Interesting strategy, but it's what he said. Look, we're gonna play the clip here in a little bit. Shout out to Jedi Goodman on X, who posted the video. We also have, hey, shout out James, appreciate you tapped in. We also have, as I said, Shoe Shine coming through. He's going to tap in with us for a while. Hopefully he can get through all of our topics that we have today, because it's a lot. Dana White, obviously, Callum Walsh fighting this Friday. Tomorrow we're going to be live for it. Check out this whole Zuffa thing. But if you watch this show, you know what it is, right? Like, everybody can tune in and be like, oh my God, it's the XFL. Oh, the XFL's coming. It's going to be so horny. Oh my God, we're going to run for the football instead of doing coin flips like fucking morons. Like, it has that kind of vibe to it a little bit, like overselling a bit. I'm going to tweet that. Matt, should I put XFL version 1, like V1, like Matt Hardy, or should I just put XFL just XFL. I did it, champ. I did it for on a product not yet fully baked. All right. So as we let the chat fill up and the listeners and the viewers, and as we wait for Shoe Shine, I'm going to talk about some of the things we're going to talk about. First of all, I do have some news on the Vargas brothers fighting. I have a comment from someone close to the situation. We're going to get to in a little bit. It wasn't what I thought. It wasn't what a lot of you thought either. And everything's all good. No trauma, no drama, no trauma, no mess, no chicks, bro. All right, let's just do the Nick Fuentes thing. All right, no chicks, bro. All right, I'm just kidding. Girls are great. So we're gonna talk about that in a little bit later. And here's the thing though, like this whole topic is going to have a bunch of topics. Y'all need to understand that this show is a very important show today. This day is a very important day. We are on the cusp of something that honestly I thought would have happened a long time ago. And it's like all the stars aligned, you know, and I'm not trying to be crude. All right. Everybody's gonna be like, damn, dude, stop trying to be funny. You just sound like a dick. I'm not trying to be a dick, but honestly, I don't think any of this happens if Vince McMahon wasn't like a big old fucking sexual perv. I mean, you look at the dynamics of what ended up taking place. And does TKO and does the Saudis with their backing obviously have not the stones, have the fortitude, and I don't mean that like in an ego way. I mean like literally, do they have the economical fortitude, right? Do they have the business strategy? Do they have a staff that believes too, by the way? That's a big part of it. All these things factor in, but we are getting all of this lined up in a way that is changing the tide, possibly forever. My fear, there's so many people, right? And people that I respect on Twitter, like boxing fans that I know are real boxing fans. You know what I mean? Like they put their hard-earned money into the sport. They love it. And I respect those people the most. But man, I'm seeing a lot of them like, hey, I don't give a fuck. Golden Boy, they suck. Matchroom, they suck. PBC, they suck. Let's just give Dana a shot. And it's like, bro, you ain't keeping score, champ, or you don't watch enough UFC, or you don't watch UFC at all. Like, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but Callum Walsh is fighting at middleweight. All 8 divisions are going to be represented on the card. I found this out. Jake Donovan pointed it out on X. I don't know how many of you caught it either. I didn't. I did not catch it. But apparently, all of the fights on the card will represent. That's not true at all. What the fuck? They got a junior lightweight. Is he? I think I got trolled. Oh, I think I believed it and got trolled. Hilarious. I think I got trolled. Yeah, that's not true. Middleweight, welterweight, featherweight, bantamweight. Yeah, there's like no heavyweight. This is dumb. So anyway, I thought that they were all like, because the thing is Dana's trying to get rid of the middleweight classes as well, right? Doesn't want anything to do with junior welterweights. He thinks there's too many belts in boxing, and this theory or this like practice, right? It's rooted in a lot of stuff. Okay, there's principle here. Okay, let me ask y'all a question. How many of y'all are football fans, right? How many of y'all are basketball fans? How many of y'all are baseball fans? How many of y'all are fans of sports that there's only one champion, right? You don't watch the NFL because at the end they're going to produce, several different champions, right? You don't do that, right? Like you don't watch tennis and it's like, okay, here's the men's singles champion, here's the women's singles champion, here's the mixed doubles champion, here are the men's doubles champion. Oh, and then here's the men's doubles champion silver person. Oh, and then here's the mixed tennis champion universe undisputed diamond belt champion. Like that doesn't exist, right? It would make it so much harder for sports like golf and football and baseball and these leagues to have hold on. Hello. 10:25. No problem. Okay, love you too. See you soon. Bye. My niece going to work. That's crazy. Makes me feel old as shit. I'm not gonna lie. The little girl that I held like this terribly, and her feet were up here and her head was down here. I didn't know you were supposed to reverse them. No one told me the first time. So, here she is, her feet's up here, her head's down here, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And now she's got a fucking job, dude. She's got a fucking job. It's crazy. Crazy. This one, the job thing hit hard, but the graduating thing, oh, that's gonna be a fucking tough day at the office. I'll tell you all that right now. Right. I mean, first of all, I'm super proud of her. She's super smart. She did way better in school than me. Uh, you know, I I have a lot of reasons to be proud, but it's like I hate to say it, but it's more about me and getting old and like that feeling, and it's gonna suck. Like I remember being 20 or however old I was when my brother knocked up his baby mom, and I remember, you know, she was pregnant and the due date's coming, and we started like my family started like talking about big moments, right? It's like, oh, she's gonna get married one day. Oh, her first boyfriend, or oh, blah blah, her sweet, her quinceañera, whatever. And then I remember somebody saying, oh, and then graduating, and I was like, dude, that's gonna be a crazy day when my niece graduates. You know what I mean? Like 18 years later, dude, 18 years later, here we are. I mean, she's 17, but she's graduating this year, dude, and it's gonna fucking suck. And honestly, it's all about me. I love her, and I've helped her with her homework for fucking years. Honestly, part of the reason she passed some of her classes was because I fucking did her work. And at the end of the day, that day is about both of us. It's about her. Yes, true. She accomplished something great, but it's also about me and my feelings about getting old and feeling like, hey, you're fucking growing up really fast. And what the fuck? You know what I mean? Show the fuck out, dude. Like, why do you have to get all fucking old and shit and make me feel like an old motherfucker? Like, you know what it feels like to have a niece that graduates from high school? Like, what the fuck? God damn, I'm old. Anyway, so yeah, Dana White, all of this stuff, it lined up, guys. It lined up in a way that you wouldn't even believe. Okay. Like if there were like boxing gods, right? Let's say that like every sport has its own god. I this was not the work of a boxing god. Okay. This was a work of many different sports gods interworking, lining up the stars at exactly the right time. Listen, we could go through the timeline, and we will in a little bit. I'm going to smoke this. I'm going to wait for shoe shine. We're going to go through the timeline. We're going to talk about it. Okay. And I'm going to show you that if you pull at any one of the threads from the moment that Vince McMahon, we found out he had a bunch of dildos named The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. True story. The moment we found out that Vince McMahon names dildos after wrestling superstars that he called friends and worked for him, and then was sued by Janelle Grant, after that, this whole thing kind of like went into motion. Okay. There's no Dana White without TKO. All right. I mean, I'm sorry that there's no Zuffa boxing without TKO. Dana, TKO, Zuffa boxing, UFC, none of them have the ability to make this push without several different things transpiring over the last several years. Now, that said, that's the story of Zuffa boxing. Okay. But the story of boxing promoters finding themselves in an increasingly bad spot has everything to do with the fact that they allowed this sport to be broken for years, for decades, some of them, right? This idea that Top Rank you know, listen, I don't know how many Top Rank fights y'all have ever been to or whatever. I've been to plenty as a fan. I've been to plenty as a journalist covering the fight. And I can tell you that I remember the poster or the banner or the video promotion. How many of y'all have been to a Top Rank fight and see the video promotion that they used to play right before the main event, right? This is boxing. It was like the horniest thing ever. I mean, it's just like the greatest Top Rank fights in a fucking, 90-second clip, and you're just jacked to the tits after that. I mean, if you're not ready for a boxing fight after that video that Top Rank plays, dude, check your pulse. Check your cock, dude. It might not be there. And if so, make sure both balls are there, because if you're not ready for a fight after that. But what did it always say? It was always like 20 years in the making, 30 years in the making, all this bullshit, right? Hey, what did he say? Top Rank this many years. But where you at, champ? I know where this man's at. This man is here with me and his shoe mother effing shine. What's
What's good, Mario? I appreciate you, man.
Oh,
that's an introduction, like right
there. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad you put it on YouTube, because I was gonna tell you, I meant to text you earlier to let you know that I left it open. But
oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, and hit that thumbs up. In fact, I'm gonna hit that thumbs up right now.
Dog. You're the champ, big dog. Listen, we got Shoeshine in the building, one and only friend of the show. If you're a member of my community, then you know him well. Shoeshine, first of all, how you doing, champ? How's the day been? How's the week been?
Man, it's gonna be a big week, man. It's been chill for me. Like I could be out in the streets trying to put in more work, but I'm looking forward to the first major boxing event, title fight for me. I'm gonna be there on Saturday. Last week was great. I got a chance to meet Kaipo Gallegos at his gym, Las Vegas Fight Club.
Dude. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Do you know how many all the Venezolanos train there, bro? Like I got
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yeah, the guy who just fought Arizlanda Lara was working out. He was there, and I got an interview coming up next month with the gentleman who's fighting. I don't want to butcher his name, but I'll have it on my channel. Next month, he's fighting in New York, Manny Pacquiao Promotions. So
I saw that card get announced. That's what's up, dude. Hell yeah.
The only thing is my Spanish isn't too. Venezolanos and Puerto Ricans talk much faster than Mexicans or a Mexican American. So I was telling him I don't want to butcher this interview, bro. I might actually have ChatGPT write out my questions.
No, you want me to tell you something? This hopefully I'm gonna tell you this. So hopefully you feel better about yourself, because I promise you, no matter what you do, you will never be embarrassed as hard as I was embarrassed 3 times in my life. But the worst one was Guillermo Rigondeaux. It's Donaire and Jorge Arce. I'm in Houston, I think it was, covering the fight. And Rigondeaux walks in, right, looking like $1 million. Also, the only guy at that point in boxing that was shorter than me. And I go up to him, or I go up to his manager, and I say, hey, can I get an interview? I'm with the Boxing Voice, Mario Munguia. He's like, yeah, just give him a second. He's saying hi to some, people. So like a minute later, he comes up to me. Dude, this is so embarrassing. They ask me if he wants the translator. And of course, Shoeshine, you know me, bro. I'm Mr. Ego, dog. Like, I can't. I've only been a journalist for a couple years. I can't let Dan Rayfeld and Steve Kim sitting on the row right next to me see me using a trainer with the last name Munguia. I mean, a translator with the last name Munguia. What? No way. Not gonna do it. The interview starts, and Guillermo Rigondeaux laughs once or twice, just like a quick chuckle, like a and then I butcher a word so bad and a phrase so bad that the manager later tells me that in certain Latin speaking worlds, what I said was actually offensive. Guillermo Rigondeaux starts laughing so hysterically loud and hard. The interview's over. It's done. He's not even answering words. He's laughing at my Spanish, Shoeshine, that badly that other people in the fucking audience start to notice and laugh as well. I turn around and I realize there's like 4 different Spanish speakers peeking their ear into the interview to hear how bad my Spanish was. So, you know, at the end of the day, I know you're not going to go that. I know it's not going to be that hard for you. So,
yeah, we'll see, man. He was talking pretty quick, and naturally the conversation went into the politics arena, and I was like, I can't keep up, man. He's talking too fast.
Wow. Oh, so
but I got a lot to ask.
Yeah, bro. Hell yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know, and you know, I don't mind talking about this on my show. If you don't want to talk about this on your YouTube, I'll shut up. But it's been surprising, not surprising, but every Venezuelan that I know that lives in my area has been celebrating pretty hard. They were going to bars, like, you know what I mean? It was like a lot of shit going on. It's like a lot of people, you know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, like, it's mixed, you know what I mean? It's like people feel different.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so that's interesting. That's an interesting aspect to it.
Yeah, my stepdad. I'm sorry to interrupt you. My stepdad is Venezuelano. He came here to play baseball in the early 1980s on a college baseball scholarship. So
that's what's up, dude.
Like the boxer I met that I said I was going to interview, like he's young. I mean, he's in his 20s, right? Like he doesn't have the same ideology as, say, someone my stepdad who grew up during what was known as the Bolivar Revolution, right? Because at that time, every Venezuelan thought, wow, this socialism thing, like we're all going to eat. We're all going to make money off the oil. It was like my stepdad's generation is totally different, right? This new generation, like of immigrant Venezuelans, like they've really suffered, bro. They've really suffered. Like you just wrap your mind around, you got $100 and tomorrow your $100 US dollars is worth $1. And you got to go out there and buy food, you know, like it's pretty bad. But yeah, I don't like to get too deep into the politics things because one way or another, you're going to offend somebody.
Yeah, no. You know, at the end of the day, it's, man, like, and this is going to be political too. Like, and that's the thing that sucks. Like, everything is political. Like, here's what I know for a fact. I know education is terrible in this country. And I know that I live in a state that has the worst of it, right? And teachers are awesome. I'm not saying that, right? But like at the end of the day, it's like you can't even stand up for teachers and say that. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, oh, you're attacking, you know, right-wing education and like, no, I'm not. I'm saying we're all fucking stupid. Like, I'm saying all of us that went through the Texas independent school districts are equally handicapped in the developmental stage of mathematics and English, but I don't know, whatever. But listen, let's get to the boxing talk.
Let's do it. And all, whatever, man. UFC. I did a little bit of homework. It's a big fight weekend here.
Listen, I should have made it sound like I was going to ask you UFC questions. It was more about like what it means, like what this means, right? Like where we're at in this landscape. The UFC, you know what? And let's just do it like this. We'll start here, okay? I was just before you came on, I was talking about what Dana White was saying on Bloomberg. Did you happen to catch that at all?
I didn't. I caught what Gaethje, who's a Las Vegas native, who's at the top of the card, Gaethje, upset about the bonus. And I think, is it what he said in response to that?
Well, go ahead and tell us what he said on that.
Well, I believe Gaethje's, you know, letting everybody know his bonus structure has not increased since the Paramount deal was signed. And
wow,
I mean, the UFC is going to exponentially make so much more money.
Yep.
And he was led to believe that the bonus structure, which I think I read hasn't not been increased since like mid 2000s or late 2000s, that he was going to get a fat bonus, you know, if he wins or puts on a performance of the night. And, according to what Dana White responded, I guess he said, I sent him an email or I sent him a message and he didn't respond. But no, I missed the Bloomberg. I mean,
so
Dana White's a big deal
first of all, that's a huge thing. That's a huge thing you just said. And shout out to 702 Man Cave. He said Dana White a cheapskate. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But you're I don't even know if you know how right you are. And we're going to get into that. At the end of the day, I'm going to play this real quick for you, so that you can have an idea of what was said, and then you can tell me your thoughts.
Okay.
Because I don't want to lead you in. So before I go into any of this, so let's go ahead and play it real quick. Shout out to Jedi Goodman. Follow him on X.
You mentioned the Zuffa boxing venture that is getting up and running this month. Talk a little bit more about how far along that is and whether you think it will be a viable competitor to some of the other straight boxing promotions.
Well, I don't want to say we'll be a viable competitor. We're going to blow them all out of the water is what we're going to do. We're in a good spot with that. You know, that launches the 23rd. It'll be the day before the UFC fight. That will also be on Paramount Plus. And yeah, I mean, literally yesterday before I flew here, that's all I worked on all day yesterday was boxing. So yeah, I'm excited about. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today if it wasn't for boxing. That's where I came from. Yeah, I love the sport, and I've talked a lot of smack about boxing over the years. And now
that's what I'm curious about. Is there a future there? Because I felt like listening to you over the years, it sounded like MMA was the future and boxing was somehow withering away.
It was, and it is. And now I'm going to fix it.
Yeah. See, that's why you don't talk shit, right? That's why you don't, you know, do those things. You know, he did this. He's done this his whole career, Shoeshine. And I'm not trying to like pick on him, right? Because all promoters say things that are clearly lies that they try later to pretend that they're not, right? But he said these things about boxing for all the years, right? The whole idea that the premise that MMA fans and boxing fans don't get along, that's a false premise. The narrative was created inside the media. I know you remember those Joe Rogan arguments on ESPN and Dana White yelling at, you know, people, Floyd Mayweather arguing about bare feet, long-haired, tattooed dudes, and you know, it was this big mudslinging contest forever. Now, Shoeshine, Dana White expects the monsters he created that are boxing haters that make up a vast majority of the MMA fan base to come and be boxing fans. How does it work for you? And tell us what you think about what he just said. Shout out to Big Spooky 725.
Man. But first of all, don't forget Paulie Malignaggi was a big proponent to this, that MMA fans are not as intelligent as boxing.
You're right,
fans,
dude.
Right?
Thank you so much. That's why I love having you on, Shoeshine, because at the end of the day, you're just looking for it straight. And that's what I'm talking about, because you're absolutely right. I made it seem like Dana and MMA were the ones picking on us. Truthfully, it was both back and forth. I just don't know if it would have gotten as heated and if gotten as, I don't know if the lines in the sand would have been as drawn as thick as they are if it weren't for Joe Rogan and Dana White over the years. Just maybe not.
Well, let's talk about all the reforms coming to the Muhammad Ali Act and how it benefits Dana White. I read some of the revisions. Some of them are quite scary, like I guess they made an amendment yesterday that would lock in fighters for up to 6 years, but they'd have to be paid a minimum $2,000 a year. I'm sorry, $2,000 a month, which would put their
with one fight every 6 months.
Yeah, which would put their basic salary at like $24,000 a year. That doesn't sound too promising, unless you just really can't. I mean, there's going to be some fighters on this card coming up on Friday night that I like, that are really interesting young prospects, like Kane Sandoval from Sacramento, who at best was fighting on Pro Box. And now he's getting an opportunity to fight on television, like a real, you know, television network, Paramount, CBS. So it's going to benefit a certain type of fighter who's been largely ignored, that better than a club fighter could potentially somebody overlooked by Top Rank, somebody overlooked by PBC, somebody overlooked by Matchroom Boxing, or, you know, it's going to benefit that type of fighter. Then you got fighters that are established, like we're hearing Jayo Pataya jumping over there, who's a world champion, probably the best cruiserweight in the world, as well as they're courting Alexander Usyk, maybe for a short-term deal. And Rayo Valenzuela
just came out. I saw that. Rayo's got a fight. Yep. And
He's
that card is good, dude. We're going to talk about that too.
It's very good. Yeah. Hot Rod will be on that with former champions Gazovsik. Is that's how you say his name? Yeah, a lot of good fighters on there.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a potential for him to literally make big waves in the sport rather quickly. With the fact that, you know, Oscar De La Hoya could be on his way out of DAZN and not have a television deal of his own, which he technically doesn't have a long-term contract now. Top Rank still Top Rank is relegated to streaming on Top Rank Classics on Tubi, which is less accessible in my opinion than just streaming on YouTube, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Listen, first of all, okay, let me directly ask you this.
I don't think I answered your question though.
No. That was a great answer, and you brought up a lot of talking points that we're going to hit on 100%. But I want to know this specifically. With what you heard Dana White just say, do you believe that Dana White believes that in order for Zuffa boxing to succeed, the rest of boxing can die? Is part of Zuffa's strategy, is part of Dana's strategy not to elevate Zuffa, but rather
monopolize?
Yes, help to destroy the rest of them. Is Zuffa boxing capable of succeeding with the other promoters still surviving?
Yeah, I don't think I doubt those Top Rank. I doubt Bob Arum, Oscar, Eddie Hearn going down without a fight. I just doubt it. Like it was very easy for him to succeed when he did the same. He followed that formula in MMA, taking out smaller promoters like Bellator, Strikeforce.
Yep.
He was very successful taking out that, basically just leaving the very small semi-pro club circuit left in MMA. He dominates that, but I don't think the boxing world is going to give it up that easily. Especially, you take Jai Opataya, the back and forth where he was saying, where we heard Dana White saying the belts aren't going to matter. They're trying to make amendments to the Muhammad Ali Act so they can come up with their own belt or fight for the ring belt. But Jai Opataya wants to unify. He wants to become undisputed. It still matters to some of the fighters. So some of these belts may still matter, and some of the fighters he has on his roster may want to fight somebody from across, where he'll be forced to cross promote. I don't know, man. I don't think he can be so insulated at the moment, because
not at all.
He's got to get big name fights.
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. And Turkey's not going to sit around, right? Not letting big fights happen under his watch just because they're signed, right? One of the things that Dana White and Nick Khan, by the way, who, Zuffa, TKO, obviously big wig WWE president, he said that contracts end when asked about the big name superstars, that are out there. You mentioned Usyk. Hey, shout out to Wile E. Coyote. You mentioned Usyk, bro, and that's a big thing that could happen. That starts the ripple, the shift, right? I know that you're not a huge wrestling fan, but I know you're aware of wrestling through the years. We're around the same age. I mean, I'm kind of way older, but we're around the same generation at least. And so at the end of the day, I know you'll know when I bring up the Monday Night Wars, WWF versus WCW, right? That was a major shift in the culture of sports entertainment, and it hit into the zeitgeist of pop culture at the time. Everybody knows who the NWO is. Everybody knows who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. If you don't, you're the loser. No, I'm just kidding. Like everybody knows those guys, right? You don't even have to be a wrestling fan. You know what I am saying, and you know what it looks like when I say the night Hulk Hogan turned heel. You already know. You see the trash flying in the ring. You see the red and the yellow, and you see Hall and Nash, and you see all of that, right? And all of that was based on that one big move that happened. Hogan went to WCW. And let me tell you this, and I'm not trying to make this whole parallel about wrestling. Honestly, I swear I'm not. This is my trap. This is my trap, Shoeshine. I just invite my boxing friends on, pretend we're going to talk boxing, and I change the subject to wrestling every time. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, you saw Hogan go over, and guess what, Shoeshine? It didn't work. It didn't work right away. WCW didn't pop off. Not at all, right? Hogan went. The ratings were like kind of floundering. Nobody really dug him as a face anymore, right? He wasn't jacked to the gills because he wasn't on roids anymore after the trial. But then he turned heel, and the floodgate happened, right? Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, a bunch of big names. And the point I bring up is that when one does it, the rest start to follow, right? You see the crack. Al Heyman only had a couple of fighters when he started in this game. But when you start hearing his name over and over and over before they think they're mom, dad, and Jesus, you're going to start to wonder if that's the guy I should be with too. And so you look at the MMA landscape, right? And you were right about everything you said about the UFC, but we have to remember that Pride existed. They bought Pride. At the end of the day, it was almost like a merger, right? Because the gangsters and the crooked government of where Pride existed, they couldn't launder enough money anymore. They couldn't run this big giant criminal enterprise as a fighting thing anymore. So Dana buys it. He gets all these influx in fighters. The whole point I'm trying to make is that, it's like you said, these one guy goes over, right? But it gives a blueprint for the rest. You said that you don't think boxing will go that easy. Do you think they have a choice, Shoeshine, with Top Rank not having a deal still? PBC, I guess, has a deal, if you want to call it that. Matchroom still never really got its footing in America. And Joshua's getting old. Let's just put it that way. Everybody doesn't. Golden Boy's losing, fighter after fighter to lawsuits. It doesn't seem like De La Hoya is going to calm down at all. By the way, there's a new De La Hoya thing out after talking about Zuffa. We'll watch that together. But I'm sorry, that was a long way of asking you. Is boxing even capable of fighting back right now, Shoeshine? The old guard of boxing.
I think they're going to make an attempt. It looks like they're going to definitely try to save themselves. But with the Congress is on the side of Dana White and Donald Trump. I
Exactly.
mean, this thing is going to get steamrolled through.
Exactly.
They've got Democrats. Actually, they got a Democrat from the Nevada that co-sponsored the bill yesterday. I just found out. And I'm not too keen. I'm not too keen on all these amendment changes to the bill, but yeah, they're definitely, they don't even have the help of Congress, because I mean it's all gearing towards Dana White and Donald Trump,
JC
in collusion. Yeah. Shout out to JC.
That's what I'm saying, Shoeshine. When I talk about all these things that have lined up over this last several years, right? Like Zuffa boxing. I don't know what those meetings are like behind the door. I don't know what the strategies are. I don't know what they're counting on. I don't know what they're thinking. All I know is that the way it sounds is it does sound like a hostile takeover. And on top of that, it feels like there's nothing to stop them, right? And that's why I say it's like, what can the old guard of boxing do? Top Rank can't magically make themselves more viable than they are. They can't be worth more than they are, right? And here's the problem. People don't understand linear TV's place in all of this, right? There's no boxing on cable anymore. We're done. There is no boxing on cable anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. You can find old HBO fights, DAZN replays, and things like that on fight networks. What do they call it? The Fast Channel. So you get the Top Rank Fast Channel, right? But the days of HBO, Showtime, ESPN, or PBC, bringing a dozen networks to the front, none of it worked out. Everybody was, I think, greedy for themselves and never saw this future. So at the end of the day, boxing it's not that Top Rank's fighters like Keyshawn or Shushu are worth less. No, it's that boxing itself is worth less than it was before. And a lot of these promoters are just, it feels like they're just realizing it.
Yeah, or they caught on too late to it. Yeah, I mean, the cord cutting happened like, oh my God, I can't even remember how many years it's been.
What's going on?
How many years has it been for me personally since HBO dropped, first HBO drops boxing and then Showtime? And you're like, well, why am I paying for the deluxe cable package? Like, why am I? Maybe I should try this cord cutting thing and buy things on a la carte, right? And now we are where we are, where you can't get people to even contemplate actually paying full price for a pay-per-view because, well, first of all, cord cutting brought on illegal streaming. Everybody's like, well said. Keep talking. It brought on illegal streaming. How do you build a strong audience in the US for boxing when now it's been relegated to a very small niche sport, a tiny little niche sport of hardcore supporters. And if it wasn't for social media and this next generation of boxers who are literally stars on social media, Kick, streaming, and all that, that generation would have no interest in the sport.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. I get irritated.
Right,
I'll see Ryan Garcia. Right. I see Ryan Garcia hanging out with streamers, and I'm like, damn, the old school boxers wouldn't be spending an ounce of their time when it's training camp time to be hanging out with streamers. But at the same time, if you don't have an audience outside of the sport of boxing, like Ryan Garcia does, or other young stars who use social media as a tool, then who would be interested in the next generation of stars?
Exactly.
So it leaves a perfect opportunity. It leaves a perfect opportunity for Dana White to come in and snatch up the next generation of fight fans by having both, by having MMA and boxing on Paramount Plus, and having the backing of CBS, who, honestly, they're kind of adept at it, right? CBS owned Showtime at one point.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but it looks like it's probably going to be successful this year. We'll see to what magnitude.
Dana and Nick Khan were at the Nationals, and they were at the I think it was the regional Golden Gloves in LA and New York.
That's pretty cool.
At the end of the last year, both Dana White and Nick Khan scouting the future of the sport. One of the kids, I think it's a Marion, that's his last name. Anyway, he's like the number, I think 16, 17 ranked in the world on that card. And reports were that there was a conversation, or there was at least an introduction made. And so, who knows what they've already got planned for the future. But in this landscape, I think that, like, if you're Dana White, and shout out to Bruce. Hey, Bruce, I don't even know if you realize this is Mario Munguia. My channel changed the other day. I don't know. I didn't know if you remembered me or just didn't realize it was me. But regardless, the point I was going to make, all that scouting that they've done, all that's gone into it, right? They put themselves in a position where they can play the long game, right? They can allow Top Rank to continue to fledge without a network deal. They can allow PBC to, continue to not sign on new fighters and develop their promotion. It almost feels like they're just trying to run out the squad that they have. You know what I mean? You're still putting on Lara and Danny Garcia fights. At some point, it's like, you know what I mean? But ultimately, it breaks down to what you said, right? The future of the sport, and guys like Arum were not committed to that. There was no investment into the sport. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. There was one, later on, as of the last decade or so, they got the Institute out in Vegas, and, they've done a lot more nutritionally, to help and give back to their fighters. Right. That said, the UFC was on that tip with Tough and all that. Bro, Callum Walsh was out here yesterday doing the fucking PR job for Dana. He was like, bro, I love it out here in Zuffa, bro. I love it out here. Hey, appreciate you, Bruce. You're the champ. I love it out here, bro. They're treating me like a star. Yo, they treat me like I'm a real commodity. They treat me like I'm a stock, and they're like, or not a stock. I forgot what the word he said, but he's like, man, they're treating me like I'm a real product. Like I'm really something to be promoted. Dude, it was kind of sad hearing him say that. But then I'm thinking well, because he was saying boxing don't have this. They don't have what Zuffa has, what the UFC has, what Dana's offering. And I was like, no, they do. They just didn't offer it to you. You know what I mean? It's one thing to say oh, boxing doesn't have it because they don't have it. But it's another thing to say, no, boxing has it, but they have it for the level of fighters like Shushu, and they have it for the level of fighters like Keyshawn. And I'm not trying to be a dick about it, right? I do believe Callum Walsh is a solid, potential solid fighter with a solid career ahead of him. That said, he's been fighting on Zuffa. He's already
been UFC. He's been fighting on UFC Fight Pass. Exactly, which is why he was the co-main.
It was called Zuffa Boxing the first time when they came out, before he was ever there, right? So we can change the name, but it's still the same thing, right? expect to see any difference in presentation because the presentation wasn't bad to begin with. All I'm saying is it's like,
you're saying it's PR and perhaps not genuine.
Yes, because of this.
It's
right?
advertising, right? It's like, okay. UPS has a fantastic union behind it. And if you work long enough at UPS, you could make well over 6 figures as you approach retirement and have a pension, right? Then Amazon came along and was like, anybody could drive an Amazon truck. We're going to make you third-party contractors. We're going to make the pay competitive. But the truth of it is like, he's basically advertising to other fighters who may not have an outlet and are like, I'd like to drive for UPS someday, get that pension, get the high union pay. But right now, all I can do is drive for Amazon. And hopefully it will lead to getting my foot in the door at UPS.
Yeah, exactly.
So
look,
I don't know what perks they're offering, but if you've got nothing going on, like I said, like if specifically like Kane Sandoval, who has a smaller management and promoter, and he's fighting on Pro Box, this is a huge step up and big deal for a fighter like Kane Sandoval.
Very, very, very good point. And, you know, Kane Sandoval is a guy who I think if it was 15 years ago, you know, this would be one of the names we'd be saying over and over because we would have seen him fought so many more times at the what was the place where Golden Boy used to do their Thursday or Friday show?
I was a Pachanga Casino or something like that.
Yes. You know, or send him out there to the desert, right? Because they would have had the shows to put him on. It's unfortunate to me how many fight fans that I know that anytime I bring up Kane Sandoval's name or someone like him, right, there's just a blank stare. And I'm telling you, I know not a fact, but I believe the truth in my heart is that Kane Sandoval would be so much bigger, so much more talked about 15 years ago. The problem is that, you know, the boxing fans today, right? Casuals, most of them are talking about what you brought up. I forget the dude's name, Zavala, I think it is, the body shot that he got from Ryan Garcia on Kick, right? Everybody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about Ryan Garcia going, what's it called? Gorlock mode. You know what I mean? Like everybody's talking about that stuff because that's what Ryan is doing and that's who he appeals to. But somebody said earlier, who was it, dude? That said, is boxing dead? It was Sweet Calf. Who is that? That's Sweet Calf?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Is boxing dying? All right. No, it's not dying. Okay, because boxing will never die. You know why? Because of this adage. If you are standing in the middle of a street, and all the old heads are going to be like, oh my God, this old thing again. But listen, if you never heard this, pay attention. If you are standing in the middle of a cross section and there are 4 corners, and on one corner, they're playing baseball, stickball, whatever, baseball. On another corner, they're playing football. On the other corner, they're playing basketball. And on the 4th and final corner, 2 people are fighting. What are you going to watch? What is going to get your attention? It's going to be the fight. And that is why boxing can never die. However, Sweet Calf, Shoeshine, Bruce, all right, JC I know is out there, all right, hardcores like us, y'all, the community that I've known for so long and that we've all known each other and gotten to know what kind of fans we are and we vibe in that kind of way, our boxing is dying. Our boxing is dying, and it's been dying. Here's the thing. So many people, Shoeshine, they keep saying, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit what Dana's doing. I don't care. I don't care because you know, these other dudes fucked it up a long time ago. Give Dana his shot to fix it. Fuck it. If he can't fix it, then who can, right? There's that. Then there's also you don't like Dana because you think he's a bad guy and you don't like his politics or you think that he's a douche or that he steals or whatever, right? None of that is true. The educated boxing fan knows one thing and more than anything is that anytime one of these promoters comes promising something new, they're fucking lying. They're repackaging the old shit and then trying to give it to you, right? PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, aka Golden Boy Light or Golden Boy Plus or whatever the fuck you wanted to call it after they stripped Golden Boy of all their fighters, right? And look, they tried innovative things, right, Shushan? They had the blue and the red, and it looked like fucking American Gladiators and shit, and it was like crazy, right? Didn't work. You're just repackaging the same thing and not giving us the best fights, the fights that will make people fight fans, the fights like Gotti and Ward, because that's why I stopped watching wrestling as much and started watching boxing more. You know what got me out of the Attitude Era? Was the fucking featherweight era of Pacquiao, Marquez, Morales.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys got me into boxing. And today I'm a lifelong fan because of it, because I know every Saturday or Friday or Thursday that I turn on the fight, that I turn on the TV to watch a fight, I know that there's a chance I'm going to get to see a fight like Ward Gotti, that I'm going to get to see a fight like Pacquiao Marquez, that I'm going to get to see an ending like Williams and Martinez, right? And that's why I fucking watch it. I don't watch it because I want to make a millionaire a billionaire. I don't give a fuck about that, right? So here's the reason to care. Because if Dana White is only trying to turn boxing into the UFC, then all he's trying to do really is put a cap on everything, okay? And control it in a way that doesn't guarantee us anything, doesn't guarantee us the best of everything. Because guess what? All the best matchmakers work for everybody else. You know what I mean? Who are your matchmakers? Who is making your fights? What do you know about a sport that you wanted to right away get rid of the junior middleweight, light heavyweight, super heavyweight, or not light heavyweight, but all these other divisions, not realizing how many people have become stars out of these divisions, not realizing how big of a jump it is for some of these guys, especially in an era where they're cutting way too much weight. I'm not trying to make it sound like more than it is, but for everybody trying to say that it's political or that it's about the UFC and hating and Dana White, no. The facts are this. If all Dana White is going to do is try to play the same game that everybody else did, then all we're going to end up doing is getting the same version of boxing that we have today, only it's going to be controlled and owned fully by one person. I have no vested interest to make Dana White any more money than De La Hoya or than Eddie Hearn or than Al Heyman. They're all fucking way too rich, first of all, okay? But the second thing of it all is that I want boxing to be better. And nothing I've heard as of yet gives me any indication that it is going to be in any time soon. You know what I mean? That said, I'm going to give them their chance. All right. I know it don't sound like it, but I'm going to give them their chance. Shoeshine, final word on this whole Zuffa, Paramount, everything.
When you talked about repackaging what works, you guys, the real fight fans and television fans, will remember the Contender television series where they went out and they went out. And I remember that. Yeah, the Contender series was wildly popular on NBC, I believe. And then you had Dana White run with that same ideology and run the Tough series, and how many people became national sensation stars. You out of the Contender, you had numerous world champions, guys that actually became Sergio Mora, who still works in broadcasting. And with the Tough, what was that guy? Diego Sanchez, the Nightmare. I mean, there was just so many guys that came out of the
Stephon Bonner, Forrest Griffin. Yes, dude.
So he's taking all that did work for him in Tough, that did work with the Contender, but how is he going to package that up on Sunday? We're going full steam ahead into fights. I think that if it's at least the quality of when I was younger, and we worked really hard. I worked much harder when I was younger, bro. A Friday night to now, she's my wife, Bella. I'd go over to her house. We were still dating. She lived with her grandparents, and we would watch Friday night fights with Teddy Atlas. And I just couldn't wait to drink a beer. And I knew that there was going to be a good fight.
If she was sitting there watching, I would have proposed right fucking there.
But with that formula, it wasn't world champions, but they still put on guys like Pro Box does today. They still put on guys that were going to deliver the best, and they were going to make it a very entertaining fight night on ESPN. If Dana White can even relive some of that magic of yesteryear, he's going to find success. And if he can tell a good story the way they used to on the Contender, on Tough, then maybe they might get that crossover where he's trying to get UFC fans to become fans of the sport of the sweet science. I am going to be very wary and leery of the bigger picture, which is he trying to monopolize and take over the entirety of the sport of boxing and crush all the competitors, people that longtime boxing fans have known, everywhere from, Don King, which he's very irrelevant now, but all the promoters, Bob Arum, De La Hoya. Is he really trying to crush that? We have to keep our eye on that. By the way, Mario, I thought initially that Sunday that because the Apex Center in Las Vegas, which is not too far from me, was going to be only available to media. And it's very hard to, apparently I heard, to become certified media with the UFC. They got their own. Like we've been hearing about other real boxing media that have not been invited. I thought that's all they were going to allow. And then all of a sudden on come Monday or Tuesday, I find out you could buy a ticket to go see this thing. Well, the Apex can only hold maybe less than 500 people. And they're basically dining chairs. And you're going to have to pay $250 to get into the building. The $250 seats flew overnight.
That's nasty, bro. It's nasty work, though. They're
dining chairs. Now, I don't want to talk shit on it, but I'm going to tell you this. As somebody who lives in Las Vegas now, I'm pretty sure it's sold out. Dana White has such a big following in the wealthy, affluent areas of Summerlin. He's known to gamble at Red Rock. I have no doubt that this is going to probably become a hot ticket, these fights at the Apex. It's going to become a hot ticket, a who's who of Las Vegas, influencers, industry people, wealthy people of Las Vegas that want to be seen in a very small, intimate environment. I can't afford it. I won't pay $500 to see.
Oh, that is an amazing point. That is an amazing point you just made. And that is something, listen, if somebody else said it, my bad, I missed it, but I haven't heard anybody bring that up. And you're already seeing it, right? And I mean, you're already seeing it. You see these little things that are ripe for the taking that Dana can do better with, right? I feel like I came out a little negative. It feels like I'm being negative. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to give a juxtaposition to all the people that are like, what's the big deal? Who cares? Let Dana take over. And it's like, no, that's not the way things should work at all. Okay. That said, Dana, I'm going to give Zuffa Boxing every bit the chance to be better, right? To do better. If you think that cutting out junior middleweight and super middleweight and,
hell no.
light bantamweight, all that, if you think cutting those weight classes out makes boxing better, if you think that handing out your own world titles, which the Ali Act, now is made, I mean, obviously it still has to pass through the House, but fully through the House, but there's no way it's not passing. And so if they end up getting their way, then it's like the situation where either I never knew what was good for me, right? Like I didn't know I should be eating my vegetables, and Dana White showed me that I can grow big and strong if I listen to him, or it's all just going to be propagandized, right? Our guy's the world champion. Well, why? Well, because he fights at Zuffa Boxing. Well, what does that mean? Well, that's where the best fighters fight. Well, why? Because that's where they fight. And it's like the circular logic that goes, why is the NFL the best? Why are the NFL Super Bowl champions the champions of the world? Why? Because Patrick Mahomes plays in that fucking league. Right? Because Dan Marino once played in that league. Troy Aikman once played in that league. You know what I'm saying? Like the history, the lineage. If you want to be the best, that's where you go. That doesn't exist in boxing. And Dana trying to make it happen. I don't know if it's purely to make all the money for himself in this way and keep all the money, low, or if it's because this is the way that you can actually save boxing and have it thrive. I don't know.
Well, I think it's healthy to be skeptical. Well. It's healthy to be skeptical.
Well said. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying something else. My bad. So listen, that's going to be my take on it. I want to get into the Ryan Garcia topic, but before we get into that one, I want to get your take on this weekend's main event fight. All right, Murataya, Andy Cruz. You are going to be in the building, correct?
I am indeed. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, man.
I am very proud of you, man. You've been working so hard all these years, dude. And I can tell you that every time I see you shining and doing your thing, bro, I
appreciate that, Mario.
It's great, man. And also, you know what? Also, it's nice to have a guy who, I don't mean thinks like me, but tries to be unbiased or tries to be rational. They're covering a fight that I'm not. Like, I'm not trying to make myself sound like, oh, good thing, somebody I can trust. Not at all. Obviously, they're way better journalists than I'll ever be. But all I'm saying is that it's like you're representing the community when you go. You know what I mean? You're representing all of us. You know what I mean? When you cover. So, like, you're going to ask the questions we want to know and shit.
Speaking of the whole UFC debacle, I mean, I think it's a plus side that we're getting promoters working together, obviously, right? Top Rank is at a disadvantage not having that television deal, and they've got the title. They have the title. Murataya has that title, and they're going to fight Andy Cruz, who is a two-time gold medalist who beat Keyshawn twice. And it reminds me of the Lomachenko story, where he rose to ascension so quickly in the pro sector after being a decorated amateur. Have I seen enough of Andy Cruz as a professional to say he can beat Murataya? I've seen Murataya perform not so great. I was at that fight where he got a win over Tevin Farmer, and I thought it was a questionable victory. But I've also seen him perform admirably on TV too. You know, could have been his off night. I've also seen Murataya get dropped and taste the canvas when he wasn't warmed up.
Very true.
So while Andy Cruz has a wealth of amateur experience, I always, that memory of Lomachenko fighting Orlando Salido in his second professional fight and getting outworked by a rugged Mexican veteran using every tactic, whether it was dirty or not, to come up with the victory.
Yeah.
I can't discount Raymond Murataya and his fantastic team. Robert Garcia, many times coach of the year. He devised a game plan for El Rayo Valenzuela, came up with the perfect game plan to beat Pitbull Cruz. Although Raymond's already the champion, he could very well come up with the perfect game plan to beat an experienced Cuban boxer, amateur experience, because he's not really seasoned yet. As a pro, I am not going to discount the chances Raymond has, who is currently the upset, to not get the victory this weekend. I think it's very likely. I think both of them are going to respect each other's powers early on, and I think it's going to behoove Raymond to respect Andy Cruz's power because he can hit hard. And if he can get past that, man, and listen to his coach, he may very well come up with the victory and spoil the night of Andy Cruz.
Well said. Listen, I think that there's something endearing about Murataya, right? Like we're about to talk about Mario Barrios and Ryan Garcia and what that fight represents in boxing, and what fights like it have come before that have had those same sort of representations. And I think that there is a narrative here as well, right? Murataya was never, anybody's golden boy, quote unquote, right? We're talking about a guy who mostly got over in COVID era, basically because he was able to fight and Top Rank was able to get bubble fights. And, there's a lot of guys that really benefited from that era, in an era where 80%, 90% of boxing, right, is unable to even get a sanctioned bout. Here comes Top Rank and they're giving their guys 2 fights in the year, in a year that people had 0, right? And so guys like Murataya, Elvis, also impressed during the COVID bubble era, right? So all these kind of guys that we've kind of grown with, from that point, right? Because boxing.
Lucas Body, you told me you used to work with him. He might get a shot at that WBA vacant spot if he gets a shot against Floyd Schofield. He told me during COVID, he just could not get the phone to ring.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, that was the big thing. And, that's why he ended up hiring us as his publicist, because when the fights came, when everything came back, it was like people were trying to catch up, right? Like the money machine was trying to catch up with itself, and it was just like a lot at once. And so you're absolutely right. You know, Lucas Body was another guy that suffered from that. So you have a guy like Murataya who has a great story. He has the kind of background that, he didn't have it easy, right? And obviously a guy like Andy Cruz, you come from where he comes from, that's not growing up easy either. All I'm saying is that he is a darling, right? He's a blue chipper. That's never how Murataya was seen. That's never how he was thought of. Nobody ever thought he was going to be a future pound for pound guy. And yet you have Andy Cruz, who kind of represents this new generation of potential pound for pound stalwarts. You know what I mean? Guys that so far seem to be passing the test. And if they can continue to pass the test in each level, are going to be pretty difficult to beat. That said, this is why I love the fight, because I think Murataya does a very good job in Murataya does a very good job in breaking momentum. He does a very good job in making his opponent uncomfortable. A guy like Andy Cruz, he's got to get comfortable. He's got to get in his rhythm, and he's good at settling in for sure. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this is Andy Cruz's fight. I think this is his spot. I shouldn't say this as a journalist, right? But since I'm not covering the fight, all right, since I'm not covering the fight, I'm going to be honest, and I want Murataya to win. It's nothing against Andy Cruz. I think he has a bright, great career. I just love the ride that Murataya has been on, man. And I feel like at the end of the day, he can get it done. I will say this, though, final point. There are a lot more fight scripts that end in Cruz's victory or hand getting raised at the end of the night than there are Murataya fight scripts in which he is the victor at the end of the night. And that's to say that I can see Cruz winning in, a variety of ways. As for Murataya, I honestly see a very specific fight script that if he deviates from even a little bit, there's Cruz's chance to run away with the fight.
Oh, sure. He's execute the perfect game plan and not deviate from the script. Incredibly important. Hey, do you remember Robeisy Ramirez? He also,
of course,
he's a gold medalist.
Yes, hell yeah.
Early on professionally wasn't ready for a certain type of fight. I don't. There's something to that. Yes, you could be a decorated amateur, even a gold medalist, but even Lomachenko and Robeisy Ramirez, both gold medalists, they were put into situations and put into fights that they just were not ready for. And sadly, like Top Rank is fantastic at grooming champions. Top Rank is one of the best at it. But like you mentioned, matchmaking, and that's one thing that Top Rank does so well. Not to diss Matchroom, but I don't think they're as good as it. And that's the reason why they're so successful at grooming champions and making sure that when that fighter goes from contender to challenger, world title challenger, Xander Zayas came up victorious against the right opponent. So
well said, dude.
I could see this fight going both ways. Andy Cruz, it is a Matchroom card. It's Las Vegas. It could end up in controversy. I've seen a lot of controversial fights. I saw Devin Haney versus Lomachenko live. And my boy, shout out to Fonzie. I don't know if he's listening, but he'll be there. We saw that one together. That was controversial. It's Vegas. Anything could happen, but it is
Fonzie. Shout out SB2.
World title fight. I'm here. I'm there for it, man.
Hell yeah, man. You're absolutely right. And man, I got FOMO, bro. I got FOMO. You're gonna be there, and I'm gonna be watching. Don't get me wrong. I'll be honest, dude. Listen, the UFC card, it's great. It really is. It's a solid, great card. It isn't the card that it once was when Amanda Nunes was fighting on it, especially with, the story and, her coming back and all of that. I mean, it was just that a lot of people thought that should have been a main event. In fact, some parts of me don't really believe that the injury and all that angle. I think they really saw like, oh shit, people would really want this as a main event. Let's just make it a main event. But that said, I'll be honest, man, I'm actually looking forward more to Murataya and Cruz than I really am any fight on that card. And again, the UFC is a very good card. Very, very good card. It's just that there's no real matchup on there with the narrative like the one that the boxing fight this weekend on DAZN presents. You know what I mean?
On the plus side is the UFC event it's not a pay-per-view, right? It's going to be offered free if you got the Paramount subscription.
Well, yeah, if you pay for Paramount Plus, you get it. Or if you have Showtime, if you have the Paramount Plus Showtime channel on your cable, then it is pretty likely, I think it was like they said like 70% of them have it where if you have that, then your provider gives you Paramount Plus for free. So if you don't have Paramount Plus and you have the channel Paramount Plus, call your provider or get on the internet, whatever, and ask them if you have access to the Paramount Plus, because there's a decent chance you do. Steve Kim was asking about that because, obviously Zuffa Boxing is going to be on. So a lot of boxing fans are, now trying to figure out what's going on with this Paramount Plus thing. It's only on Paramount Plus. It's not going to be streamed on that channel. There is no linear TV for the UFC any longer other than their fast channels. So, yeah, but, listen, I want to move on to the Ryan Garcia. How much time did you have with me, bro?
I got to bounce like 3:30. So let's get talking about that. I saw the press conference. I saw the first stare down. That was a good one.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad, right? Let me show you, or I want to pull this up. So the Mario Barrios Ryan Garcia fight was announced, and I'll be honest, man. And I know I've heard your take on this as well. The fact that Ryan Garcia is even in this fight at all, coming off of his last performance, basically everything he's done in boxing, in the last year of his career,
it feels like he's gotten more. It feels like he has like the most second chances of any fighter, right? I mean,
this is his 666 chance if you get my no, I'm just playing. But like at the end of the day, yes, you are absolutely right. And that's why this narrative between Mario Barrios, right? Like I'm Hispanic, my great grandfather, my great grandmother on both sides are from Mexico. And I can tell you that where I'm from, like the lineage, like there's pride in like the Mayan story, right? In that native story, in all of the culture and the influence and the warrior spirit. But there's also technology and just so many underutilized and underthought of things when it comes to that culture. And Mario Barrios being the quintessential representative of that. You know what I mean? Like true to the culture, right? True to the spirit, representing in the most primal way. Back that shit, bro.
I'm laughing because I can remember the last fight when Paulie Malignaggi, I think after that last performance, he said, look, you just got to drop the whole Aztec thing, bro.
Yeah. No, I remember that.
And Paulie knows a lot of, he's grown up around a lot of Mexican fighters. He just said, you just got to drop the whole thing, bro. You just representing that whole. But credit to Mario, he's proud. You're right, bro. Mario is proud of his heritage. And Mario, who I had a chance to meet in person. First of all, I wanted to let everyone who's never seen Mario Barrios in person, he is tall. Like I thought he used to be 5'11". I'm sure
tall.
He's a good close to 6 feet tall, and he has
First time I met him, I didn't even think it was him, dude. I was like,
he's big, he's tall, he's tall, and he has a very wide back. He's like
very wide, crazy wingspan.
Crazy wingspan, and you saw the height difference. I didn't realize that he's going to be the bigger man in the ring.
Yes, very much so. And so, again, and here's the thing. I think you're right, because the fans think it's like annoying now, right? A lot of them do. And so it's not that I'm saying like keep the Aztec shtick up. All I'm saying is like there's this degree of authenticity and this nature that he brings to it, where the narrative is, he's this proud representative that did things the right way, the hard way. He's nobody's golden boy, wasn't given 1,000,000 second chances, right? Then on the other side, you have Ryan Garcia, right? The premier golden boy, the golden boys, golden boy, the golden boys, golden boys, golden boy. All right. And so you have this guy, and he represents essentially the complete opposite, right? From LA, and that's no bash LA or anything like that. I'm just saying, he seems to be caught up in the Hollywood spirit of it all, right? He's more of a kick streamer, I think, than I'd consider him a boxer these days. In fact, I've seen more footage of him sparring and getting work in with kick streamers and influencers than I actually have seen him doing real work. That's not to say I haven't seen footage of him doing real work, because I have. Ultimately, though, this fight reminds me of Vargas de la Hoya so bad in so many ways, because I remember being a kid at that age and the narrative that existed, right? Like, I didn't take part in it really, but it really was like the fucking cholos versus the fucking like preppy Mexican kids. Like, that's how it went down where I was from, dude. Like, if you were going for De La Hoya, which I was secretly because I didn't want to get my ass kicked at school, if you were going for De La Hoya, you were a bitch, you were a weirdo, you were all these negative things, right? But if you were going for Vargas, bro, you're, Viva la raza, champ. You know what I mean? Conan, everything. Throw that fucking LWO music on. You know what I mean? Play some El Rey in this bitch. And that's the vibe I get from this fight. Maybe not in the same way. Maybe the 2026 version, right? The Gen Z version of that fight, right? That's how I feel. Do you get that sense at all? What's the narrative for you in this fight?
Well, they've got quite contrasting. Okay, first, Oscar was from East LA, but he rose from the trenches of the hood to become the gold medalist, right?
Yes.
So his story was something else. But, and by the way, Vince, if you're listening, Vince, call in the show if you still have that link, because Vince lived through this. It's his family.
Did you send it to him?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I'm not sure if he's available, but he lived through this. He lived through the entire thing. And then on the other hand, you had him, Vargas from Oxnard, California, which is essentially north of Los Angeles, but a farm community, like literally an agricultural small city. And on here with Ryan, you've got Ryan is from a very bad area of Victorville, California, man. Victorville, California is like, if you're familiar with Barstow, California, it's a very impoverished, low-income area of California. Wow. It's desert. Yeah. So he kind of reminds me of, like you said, Oscar De La Hoya, but without all the accolades, without the earned accolades. Yikes. He doesn't have them. He also hasn't taken on the world-class competition that Oscar did early on in his career. He also hasn't taken on the
What's up? Hey, turn your volume down just a little bit. We're hearing the feedback.
I'm gonna turn it off.
Oh yeah. Okay. Appreciate
there you go.
it. What's going on, champ? Appreciate you tapping in.
Another beautiful day.
Yeah, you sound good. Sound good, Vince. Shout out to Vince,
yes,
everybody. Slug Down Sports.
Champ, Vince. Hey, D-Towns. Bro. Hey,
Oak Cliff in the house.
Hey, Shoeshine. Me and Vince are going to be starting our own show without you now.
You guys should do the Dallas Cowboys show.
San Francisco thing. Yeah. I'm playing. So we were talking about this. Vince, listen, I want to make it very clear. Like, these aren't my narratives, right? These are the narratives I feel like casual fans painted back then, but it was like this narrative when Vargas and De La Hoya fought. That Vargas was like the real hood Mexican, and De La Hoya was the fake Mexican, right? Like he was just doing it for the clicks. He wanted to be
the bad guy versus the good guy.
Yes. Now you have Mario Barrios and Ryan Garcia, and as Shoeshine said it so well, the narratives don't line up, perfectly with these guys at all. But
not even close.
Narrative against each other, though. The guy that's had the tougher road versus the guy that's had all the second chances in the world. First of all, what do you remember about Vargas De La Hoya, and what do you think about Barrios and Garcia?
I think Vargas, he was when he was training, he was at his top. He was at his top. Like the first time they're supposed to fight, he would have probably beat De La Hoya. But then an injury happened to Oscar. Supposedly, an injury happened, But then the second time, Oscar whooped his ass. But a true story about that. Back in the day when they're in the Olympics, they're at Big Bear running the mountain, and Fernando told me he fell down and everybody ran past him, and Oscar didn't like help him up and just laughed, ran by him and laughed at him.
Whoa.
So Fernando said, I'm gonna fight you one day, and look what happened. They ended up fighting.
Yo, for real?
Yeah. Yep. I took that
check out
because Oscar's my favorite fighter. You know,
Yeah.
I know
that
his
was
family
my
and
favorite
all.
fighter growing up. That was my favorite fighter. Growing up.
Mine till this day. Now
That's bro.
now my
You're a
favorite is
real
Emmy.
one for still hanging on. Who?
And now it's Emmy.
Oh,
Emiliano.
okay.
That's my favorite now.
Emiliano. No, I got to cover one of his fights a couple years ago. Interview him and everything. Yeah, that was awesome. But hey, listen, everybody. SB just put Slug Out Sports' YouTube channel in there, Vince's YouTube channel. So go there and subscribe.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so check that out. So what do you think about Barrios and Garcia? What does that represent to you?
To me, just Barrios get a paycheck to get beat up, and hopefully he retires. You asked, but that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Okay, but I got it.
Vince, to whip him up.
Vince, the performance Ryan had against Raleigh, and you're very close to Raleigh too.
Well,
what if that Ryan Garcia shows up?
It's not going to show up.
Good question.
It's not going to show up because Rolly's beat him up in sparring, and back in the day, that sticks in your head.
Fair point.
You know, Rolly's whooped him twice at the Mayweather gym.
So you're saying that the reason why Ryan's performance was so poor was because in his head he had already lost. He had that trauma of getting beat up
because he said Rolly hits hard.
Raleigh.
Yeah.
He said Rolly hits hard.
So there is no history of Ryan Garcia that I know of sparring Mario Barrios.
No.
So the playing field is level, is what you're saying.
But to me, I'm going for Ryan. That's a no-brainer. When that first came on, that's an easy fight for Ryan.
Go ahead. Hey,
Mario,
shout out to SB. Just put out Bruce Gass's YouTube channel. Go and follow his too. Bruce Gass is awesome.
I'm laughing and as the young kids say, pause. You know, I'm trying to think possibly the closest relationship to that fight, that epic era of De La Hoya versus Vargas. I can remember my mom. This was what was 2001. My mom was a lot younger. Oh my gosh, she was crushing on Fernando, bro.
Yeah, bro.
And then the other ladies, the other tias at the party, because you know remember we used to get together to watch pay-per-views like this, man. We big old carne asada.
Hell yeah.
The other tias were arguing. Oh, Oscar's been.
Bro.
This might be the closest to that. Is that you've got two, better looking fighters, right? But one's a little more prieto, as they say, a little bit darker, right?
Yeah.
A little bit darker. The other one's a little bit more light skinned, like Oscar.
Yeah, you're right.
But going back to that fight, Oscar was like, there was a heel, like you said in wrestling, right? There was the bad boy, and Oscar was not the bad boy.
Nope.
And Ryan is the bad boy.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the bad guy in this. Yeah, he's playing the heel tomorrow.
But today he was nice. Today he was nice. I don't know. They're gonna have to sell this fight. He's gonna have to come out with a new personality at the next press conference.
For real.
More t-shirts.
Yo, listen, and look at this part right here. This is that Ryan Garcia doesn't no longer know. Because look, I want to make this clear, Vince. I agree with you. I think that I would favor Ryan Garcia over Mario Barrios if I somehow know that on fight night, we were not only getting the best version of Ryan Garcia, but a rededicated, revamped version, closer to what we saw, as the kid that was, part of the 4 King discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that. Then stylistically, I would say Mario has a problem. I really would.
He does have a problem. Once he signed the contract.
Listen, if Ryan is that guy on fight night, and that's like my thing is that how much of this kick streaming, how much of this trolling, how much of all this stuff is a distraction that he can't afford to break. Listen, if you've seen his stream at all, then you know that he called Joe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, called him on his live, had him on, and he specifically said, Joe, I got something for you at the press conference. And they were having a great conversation. It was a good old time. They were laughing about. Now watch this.
Yep.
That's messed up.
Pardon?
Said, how could you? That's messed up.
What's messed up? You know what I said? I mean, just can't believe you're doing this to me. That's insane. You hurt my heart.
Well,
Really.
I'm still not.
You broke my heart. It's over. It's over. We're done.
Again?
We're done.
Now, how did I do that?
You just broke my heart. Just move on.
All right. Well, I thought I was being.
No, you were being sweet.
I thought I was being courteous and generous, and that's what I'm trying to be here. And I hope you don't take offense to it.
It's cool.
Because I don't ever want to offend fighters. I love what I do.
I'm offended. I'm offended. I'm offended already. I'm hurt.
All right, good.
I'm offended, hurt, all that.
All right. Okay. Well, look, I mean, I'm still not following it exactly, but all I can do is try to be gracious to you. Okay.
No, I get it.
And
so that was basically more of that. Listen,
I missed that.
Is it funny? Yeah, it's funny, right? It's funny, especially because you know that he's not being serious, right? Like they're all trolling, it's all joke, right? It's all love. So you know that it ain't nothing big, right? That said, though,
he's a pretty good actor.
No, he is. Is that the kind of mindset you want? I don't know, because look, he trolled the shit out of Haney, and we saw what happened there.
That's we're gonna see. That performance, we're gonna see that again.
Okay.
Now,
I'm obviously, for me, I'm concerned about. I think the better days of Mario Barrios' performances, like you remember when Anthony Joshua got knocked out by Andy Cruz. I'm not Andy Cruz, excuse me. The big Mexican kid in Saudi Arabia when he got knocked down 3 times.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy Ruiz.
That's my friend's cousin. That's my homeboy's cousin.
How many fights did it take before
I'm
Anthony Joshua?
Yo, you were real locked in.
Yeah, I sent a lot of texts out and said, hey, when my get enough followers, I want to start interviewing. They say, okay, we're down.
Hell yeah,
that's what's up. Anyway, I remember Francisco Vince running the hills with Andy Ruiz, but with Mario Barrios, I feel like his punch resistance is kind of diminished, and I feel like he's afraid to get hit really hard, and if he gets hit really hard, like Vince is speculating by Ryan Garcia's, he has that great equalizer and that left hook. It could change the dynamic of the fight, and he'll become even more reserved in the fight than we're already used to seeing. He was reserved against Manny Pacquiao. You know,
he should have retired right after that. He should have retired right after that fight.
Well, to his credit, how many pay-per-view specials has Mario Barrios now been involved with? People called him a limited fighter. When he was at the 140-pound division, he became a champion at 140 and a champion at 147. If he does retire after a big loss, I mean, he just became a dad. He's probably made some really good money off his pay-per-views, and he should be set for life.
But the one thing I like about him is his ring walk when he comes in. That's the only thing I like about him.
That's one of the baddest.
He puts thought into it. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Shit, you know what I mean? I think ultimately this is a great fight. This is an awesome fight, right? And the narrative is what I love about this. This feels old school to me because not only do we have the narrative going into it, right? You got Ryan Garcia. He can't afford another loss, right? He can't afford to look bad. You got Mario Barrios potentially on the verge of his biggest commercial win of his career, right? And that's all awesome. That's all great, right? You know, the good guy versus the bad guy. Hell yeah. But then simultaneously, there's another narrative at play here where Oscar De La Hoya, who finds himself in a situation where, you know, one of his last best bro fighters is now suing to get out. And that means, and that makes him on the list with guys like Canelo and Ryan Garcia himself. And so when you look at that, you say to yourself, holy crap, this is De La Hoya sending his last happy fighter, I don't even know if we can use that word, into a fight on foreign territory on a PBC show against a PBC fighter, meaning that De La Hoya is literally taking his chips, putting them all in there. If he loses, Ryan Garcia loses, is that the end of Golden Boy?
I don't think so.
No, it's not. Shoot, Sean, what you think?
Man, if he loses Ryan as a fighter on his roster, if he loses him,
well, no. If Ryan just loses, does that?
If he just loses, No.
No,
This
he's
is
gonna
wild
be a
for me. And I'm going to
viable
tell you
fighter.
why. Because Ryan Garcia has already cemented himself as some type of hybrid fighter celebrity, where
Very
he
true.
he could lose this fight and find a nemesis in the kick world, streaming world, and fight on Misfits Boxing. Right?
You're right.
Oh,
He could-
crazy.
He could
You're
fight
right.
He could fight a Jake Paul coming back and
That would be
literally
huge. That would
be a huge deal on Netflix. You know, even coming off a loss, Ryan Garcia has now created something, a brand where
That's a good idea. What you said.
he can literally fight somebody who's not a boxer. I don't know, fight it. And if
That's a good idea.
he still has a viable path, not necessarily become a world champion, but to still be in the sport and be, you know, to still be important.
That's
You
good.
know?
Well, my wife always goes out to eat with his mom. I'm gonna tell that to my wife. Tell him to go fight for Misfit.
Well, I'm saying,
Make a shitload of money.
I'm
They're
saying
gonna pay him.
if he loses, if he were to lose, and if he were to walk away from the contract with Oscar De La Hoya,
He's gonna walk away.
He can literally, you know, start his own Ryan Garcia promotions like Jake
should.
Paul did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
Be a
and
mixture
like the rumor right now is that Verge is trying to get to go to Canelo's promotion. Okay.
Right.
That's the rumor. Okay. The other rumor that I've heard is that this is not really over the Boots fight. Yes, the Boots fight is part of this, but it's more of a camel that broke the straw's back. From what I'm hearing from several different journalists is that there were certain problems that were brewing over the last 12 to 16 months. And I don't know what happened there. I have no indication of any of it. All I know is that Boots was a series of events as opposed to this one fight. And it makes sense if you think about it, because if you're Verge, right, all you have is a list of fighters that have taken years off of their career to do what you're trying to do. And I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. All I'm saying is that if you're going to do it, then you must take the warnings of Mikey Garcia's career. Take the warnings of Andre Ward's career. Take the warnings of the guys who may have left some of their best years in the courtroom, right? Yeah. And then at the end of the day, if all this amounts to nothing but them still fighting, it's still a bad situation for De La Hoya to continue to have all of your fighters essentially roll up their chips on you and put them all in every time they got a problem, right? This isn't, hey, we need to talk about this Boost fight. It's a, nope, I'm suing, bro. That's it. Yeah. I'm done. It's a crazy situation.
But you know what sucks for being a promoter? How about all those times he tried to get Homeboy to fight and he got hurt or something? Didn't Virgil get hurt twice?
Twice. Bro,
so,
I was
what's up with that?
I was covering the Stanionis fight. I was covering that fight, bro. I mean, I still covered it, right?
Yeah.
It was, I think Diaz ended up being the main event. But yeah, dude, you're absolutely right. That's a very, very good point. Very, very fair point. And you know, you have to wonder who's really to not blame, but responsible for that, because it's like you had his coaches and his dad, his trainers, and all these people that continued to keep him at this 147-pound division that he clearly had grown out of.
Yeah, he got very violently ill. I can't even pronounce that the disease. It's an actual disease.
You know whose fault it is? Like when a fighter don't make weight, whose fault is it?
Say it's a team.
Yes, so that's whose fault it is over there. It ain't Oscar's fault. And Oscar's trying to, to me, I think Oscar's trying to protect him, but he wants to he wants to test the fire, throw his ass out there.
Yeah, no.
I agree with you.
And he's not going to sell. That fight ain't going to sell out in Dallas, in Texas. Not even close.
I don't think it will, but I do think it could get close. I do think 80-90% is doable. I think. I was gonna tell you, Shoeshine, that the clock came up on your 3:30. You need a jump? Okay.
Yeah, dude, I do need to bounce. Vince,
you want to stick around?
You want to stick on the show?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, if it stays on.
Yeah, we got topics. Hell yeah.
I'm gonna go run some things, man. I appreciate Vince being on it. Mario, I appreciate you having on me. I'm gonna turn off.
Hell yeah.
Follow everybody. Go back to your channel, Mario's channel, because I'm gonna turn it off on my channel. I will be back live on the air later tonight because Drew Evo's back. He wants to get some stuff off his chest.
You're gonna talk crap about our Cowboys.
Drew
Hey,
ready.
we took one of his coaches, the defense
Well,
coordinator.
the defensive coordinator, right?
Yep,
Hell
yep.
yeah, bro.
Oh, that's
We
a
got
big
about
deal.
that.
I saw this afternoon. Hell yeah. Hey, Shoeshine, appreciate you coming through,
Yeah.
big dog. Hopefully you can come back before the Shakur fight next week.
Sounds
and
good,
then
man.
let me know.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll come
tap
back.
in, champ.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Peace, guys.
Take care,
You're
bro.
the best, champ. Appreciate it. Yo, that was Shoeshine. Make sure you go to his channel.
Great
He was
guy,
in my
great guy.
community. Awesome, dude. One of the
Yes.
best. Love his takes. Vince, man, dude. First of all, I want to remind everybody to go to your channel.
Slugged Out
And-
Sports.
Slugged Out Sports. The SB put the link in the chat. So shout out to SB, you're the champ. But listen, dude, I wanna ask you. We were talking about this whole Zuffa Dana White situation. You know, you are a
I'm not a big fan of Dana White, to tell you the truth.
yeah. No. I hear you there, but you're a long time boxing guy. So
Yeah.
you have the knowledge, the timeline, the linear timeline of events, and you know a lot of the reasons why we're here today and the promoters that basically allowed this version of boxing to exist and get to this point. Let me ask you, do you think that Zuffa boxing has it to take over the sport completely?
Hell no.
Why not? Why not?
Because number one, I know for a fact my nephew's gonna fight for him because they get sponsors on their trunks, and that's where they make a lot of money. And you know how Dana is about that with his UFC fighters. He's gonna say, no,
That's
no,
true.
you can't do that, can't do that. Because some of these guys get paid peanuts, but when they get those patches on those shorts, that's when they start making their money. You know? Because I remember a long time ago, there used to be a truck driver that worked for the trash company down here in Vegas, and Dana White offered him a fight. He said, hell no, I'll make more money doing this than fighting for you. Like,
Damn, bro,
damn.
that's crazy. Yeah. No, and that's a fair point. Here's the thing, though.
And another thing I hate about Dana White is he'll go to the casinos and drop 5 million and lose 5 million and don't give a shit.
Dude.
But these guys over there killing themselves for him don't even get paid. They get paid peanuts.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
That's what I can't stand that. That's like an insult.
No. I definitely do not want to see boxing just become the UFC. That's not
It
what I
ain't.
want to see at all. Here's my thing, though, Vince. How do you stop it? If Turkey's the one with the money, right? If no networks, like Top Rank hasn't gotten a deal yet.
I know.
That speaks volumes to where boxing exists in the landscape of linear television and cable and streaming and all that. Netflix seems to be only in the boxing business when it's like these huge mega fights that aren't even really boxing.
I know.
And so if boxing is going to survive, if the old guards of boxing are going to survive, how are they going to do it, Vince? How do they do it without Turkey?
I'm hoping Oscar got all that money, man. I don't know why he don't try to do his own thing. You know?
I mean, Golden Boy's his. That is his own thing.
The money the promotion has, I don't know why they don't try to get their own little fight TV show.
You know, listen, they had it. They had their whole thing, you know, with Fox Sports. They were having those Indio.
No, but I'm talking about De La Hoya, just straight De La Hoya.
No. But what
HBO?
I'm saying is when PBC, when Richard Schaefer and Al Heyman left, right, and they took their PBC fighters with them. Okay, when that happened, Golden Boy was all Oscars at that point, right? He promoted the people that, you know, had been his most loyal, you know, soldiers and smartest boxing minds. And he went after it, right? And he got shows with Indio. He kept Canelo. He did a lot of good things on his own. He kept Golden Boy thriving. But today, let's say they were to get their own channel, who's going to fight? Like the amount of quality fighters that they have spread out throughout divisions just doesn't exist. There are no in-house fights for him left, really. All of the biggest fights for his fighters exist outside of the promotion, which is not something that was the case for the vast majority of Golden Boy's existence.
Yeah, but supposedly he's getting along with PBC. He gets along with Top Rank, you know. So hopefully that works. That marriage works.
Do you think there's any chance? Because a lot of really smart boxing writers have been putting this, and honestly, I was like, man, I respect these guys a lot, but this seems far fetched. But the more and more I hear it, more and more people keep pitching it. Sean Zattel pitched it. They say that these promoters should link up, unify like the Infinity Gauntlets on Thanos's fucking hand, right?
That'd be great.
And all linked together. It would be great, but do you think it's a realistic possibility? Do you think that they've been pushed so far to the edge of the cliff of no longer existing that they could possibly mend fences and become a single unit, or at least a unit that moves in solidarity?
I think they got egos because they'll be, oh, no, let's
Very,
say, oh,
very
no,
true.
no. So, but man, I wish they would. That'd be awesome. You know?
Very, very true. And Verge, what do you think about that situation? You think that it cools over before in the point we get a boots fight?
I don't know, but I'm like I said, I'm real close. I'm real close to De La Hoya's son, and I'm gonna give him a call and ask him some questions. I'm letting it cool down before I call and ask him. You know what I mean?
Of course. Hey, that's smart, bro. That's smart. Listen, while we have you, I do want to real quick talk about who you've already said is your favorite fighter, Emiliano Vargas. The boy scrap this past weekend.
But I don't talk about that.
No, of course not. No. I was just, they were in the news. And at the end of the day, brothers fight. I've gotten into shit with my brother many times.
Hey, I remember when my brother was asleep, I had to jump on him to beat him up. That's how good he beat me up.
Oh shit, yeah, you got to get that jump on him, right? I've been training jujitsu, so it wasn't fair. So I didn't really up as much as I could have, but I held it easy on it. No, I'm playing. But listen, I want to talk to you, Emiliano. He put on social media, I think it was January 3rd. He was in the gym. It was footage he was posting, and he said, biggest year to come. And then the next post he had is this 2026 will be my biggest year. I talked about this on live, and the community spoke about who are the fighters, what are the fights that it could look like that would make up Emiliano's best year ever. Like the 2026 has gone off like gangbusters.
Well, this fight he's got is a good one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's a real good one.
What's the day on that?
The 28th of February.
Is it the 28th? Okay.
In Arizona.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
And so what do you think as far as his 2026 years, how many fights do you think he's going to end up getting in?
He likes to I'm telling you, right after he fight like this fight he's going to have, he'll take off Sunday, he'll go to church, Monday he'll be back in the gym. Damn. That's how he is. He's like a gym rat. I said, dude, take 2 days off. Nope. Like, man, you got to rest your body. He said, I'm good. Because at his house, he has that little bathtub where you jump in there and get cooled off.
Oh, yeah, the ice bath.
Yeah, he has one. A sponsor gave it to him. Like, damn, must be nice.
That's sick. I know, dude. I would.
Yeah.
So,
but I want to see him fight that one kid. He fights for Top Rank. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. And he mentioned his name one time. A color kid. Same. They're about the same age.
I'm not sure that he mentioned. I haven't.
Yeah, he told me like when we talked, he mentioned his name. I said, okay.
I mean, the top of the list on the
top rank
division: Keyshawn, Richardson, Hitchens, Barbosa, Lamont Roach, Jermaine Ortiz, Frank Martin. I mean, not all these guys are not with Top Rank, obviously.
Yeah, it's a Top Rank. Man, where's Dave when we need him? I know he knows what his name is. Dang, I can't think of his name. But he mentioned him.
Well, I can say this. He has a very smart team behind him. Right?
Like I tell all of them, when you don't listen to your dad, bad things are going to happen. Because Fernando been there, done that.
You're absolutely right, dude. I like I said, I got to cover Emiliano's fight. I think it was 2023. I got to talk to Fernando, and just the way he talks about the development of his son and the way he handles the fighters.
It's true that he don't want them to box. It's a dead true story. He don't want them to box. I remember when Emmy was so little and fat. Like, oh my god, look at Emmy, little chubby.
No
shit. Crazy. Yeah.
And
I remember all their first fights. Emmy's first fight too. Like, oh my gosh, I showed him the picture. His first ever fight.
Crazy, dude. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Hell yeah. Are you gonna be in the building for the
No,
fight?
I'm tired of traveling.
Tired of traveling?
If
Man, I know it.
I'll more likely I'll be at the Ryan Garcia one.
Okay, that's what's up. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, Emiliano's gonna be fighting Augustine Ezequiel Quintana,
He's good.
who is 22-2 with
He's
one
good.
draw. It's an Argentinian kid, 29 years old. But you know,
He beat
sure
what's his
Emiliano's
name? Mark.
business.
He beat Mark. Oh, I can't think of his last name. Mark something.
Well, I can tell you that he has fought Mark Castro. He was
Yep, Mark Castro.
yeah, he was undefeated.
Yeah.
He's Puerto Rican. Yeah. He's coming off a 4-fight win streak.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's
And he's just a smart fighter. He's real smart.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hell yeah. Listen, Vince, man, it was awesome having you on, big dog. We're gonna jump off. I got like just a couple more wrestling topics, but man, anytime you can come through, bro, you're more than welcome to jump on.
You just gotta send me that link. I don't know how to do that stuff. I'm new to this stuff.
Hell yeah, I got you, champ. I got you.
Hey,
I'll get your info
I want to ask you a wrestling question.
Go for it, champ. Hell yeah.
It's gonna be a tough one.
All right.
Who's your Mount Rushmore?
I would have to probably say Bret Hart, and probably Bret Hart at the end, I think. No, I'm playing. No, okay, but see, here's the problem, Vince. When you have that conversation,
Yeah.
you have to like specify, like, are we talking the GOAT workers? Are we talking Mount Rushmore like earners? Are we talking like the biggest stars ever?
No,
Are we
not the
talking
biggest star. Like,
wrestlers?
well, I guess you can say the biggest stars. I guess.
So if we're going like the biggest stars, then like Mount Rushmore, I think it would probably be like Stone Cold,
Yep.
Hogan,
Yeah.
John Cena, and probably you could throw Roman, but maybe if you don't throw him yet, then he probably will be on there at some point.
You don't forget the Nature Boy.
I was gonna say until then, Ric Flair is probably the guy you'd put on the list. But I'll be honest, man, I think Ric Flair's a little overrated. I've always felt that his career. I know. It's a take that most people do not agree with me.
Hardy Race, man, he fought them all.
Listen, at the end of the day, Ric Flair, he's amazing, and what he did so well. I will say though, I appreciate guys like Undertaker who can.
Hey, I remember when he first started, over there at the Sportatorium.
Oh no shit! You got to see him, huh?
Yeah, I saw him.
Bro, how many events you think you saw at Sportatorium?
I'm gonna say like maybe 30.
Damn, bro.
We saw every Friday night.
Shit.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome, dude.
Like the Freebirds.
Those memories, bro. Now I see. Hey, now I see how you get a whole man cave of one of a kind collection shit.
Yeah, I got some. like when I get enough followers, I'm gonna give this out. It's an Emiliano boxing glove.
That's what's up, bro. Hell yeah.
Once I get the followers,
follow shit. I want to ask you real quick. What's your Mount Rushmore? What does that look like?
Mine is Kerry Von Erich.
Love it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I couldn't disagree.
Shawn Michaels.
Oh, you love your Texas boys.
I
got you, champ. Hell yeah.
And the last one, I'm gonna have to go with Ric Flair. Because I remember when I used to go watch him at the Sportatorium, dude. That's so crazy.
Oh man.
I remember seeing David Von Erich too. It's like, man, I remember when he died, brought a tear to my eye.
And my parents, dude, they were the biggest Von Erich fans growing up.
Man, I just love him to death,
all I
man.
would ever hear was, well, Brett's good, but he's no Von Erich. Sean's good, but he's not Kerry. Like all the time. And you got to realize, like, I'm a kid, so the only live I ever saw with Von Erich was, when he was playing Texas Tornado, and by then he already had the accident. You know what I mean? And he was still so good.
Yeah.
He was still so good. I never knew it. It wasn't until decades later.
Me too. I didn't know that
he lost his leg. I
didn't know that.
Did you get to see the movie?
Yeah, I saw that.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was cool. I wonder if it was really, really true.
Right?
Because sometimes they'd be lying.
Really good job with it.
Yeah,
and it feel authentic.
I liked it because I can't believe they tore that building down.
I know, dude.
Man,
that should have been
sad.
like a fucking monument.
Elvis performed in there. What the heck,
bro? That was like the place for wrestling and boxing, and oh man,
music.
You know, and you know what I don't like? I don't like that they put out a video game, right? Undisputed is the latest boxing video game that came out.
Yeah.
I was so hoping they were gonna put in, you know, the Coliseum or the Sportatorium, or
that would
you
be
know,
awesome.
that would have been so sick. Or even like the Blood Bowl, the StubHub, you know,
Yeah.
just as
Well,
a
maybe
throwback.
that's what Vince McMahon should do with his wrestling video games.
Oh hell yeah, that would be sick.
Somebody should pitch that to him. But you know him, he's got ego. Oh, what do I want Sportatorium for? It ain't no good. There are no wrestlers there. It's all about WWE.
Hell yeah, bro. No, you're absolutely right. Listen, Vince, awesome having you on, big dog. I'm gonna hit you up for wrestling too.
Awesome. I love wrestling.
Hell yeah.
The old school. I'm really down for the old school. Like right when NWO left, wrestling died. To me.
I feel you on that, champ. I feel you on that. But I got you on the link. I'll hit you up and make sure everybody goes and subscribes.
Yes, sir.
Channel Slugged Out Sports.
And then I will be probably next week. I'll probably go see Emmy at his gym training. I'll do a little shorts of him. But
hell yeah,
all they're gonna say, I can't say nothing. But watch the Super Bowl halftime performance. Just watch it, because he's gonna come out with an announcement. But I can't say nothing. But just watch it.
Hell
you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We waiting then.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Right. Hey, take it easy, Vince. Have a good weekend.
You too. You too. Right. Take care.
Slugged Out Sports.
Yes,
that's
sir.
The man right there, Vince. Go follow him. Listen, everybody, we are almost wrapped up here. Gonna have like a couple more topics. Probably end up doing like a situation where I'm just gonna burn through the last few things. But I appreciate everybody that is tapped in. I appreciate everybody that is watching on live. Oh shit. I don't know what happened there, but whatever. Hey yo, Young Tigre champ in the building. What's going on? All right. So final. Oh man, this was the boxing topic. This was the last one I meant to go over with Shoeshine. And Vince, I forgot, but that's all right. Listen, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go over this one last boxing topic. We spoke about it. What the fuck? We spoke about it yesterday a bit. All right, that's not what I wanted. All right, we talked about it yesterday a bit. Max Kellerman on the Official Ring podcast, which you can watch on all their socials. He was on there, and he had, I think it was Cop on. Yeah, I'm sure it was Cop on now that I think about it. And Max Kellerman brought up the idea that Canelo, who is scheduled to return this year and fight, rumors are they are in the middle of looking to negotiate. You know who it is, I have no idea, but you know, they are looking for a fight as we speak. And Max Kellerman brought up the premise that if Canelo comes back and looks bad, looks terrible, maybe even loses, what does that do for the Crawford win? Will people look down on Crawford's win of Canelo? Will he get the respect and or the credit that he received initially upon winning? Or does the win age like spoiled milk? That's my question for y'all. And that's the question I'm going to answer. Listen, I think that ultimately it is a situation where everybody wants to play, like everybody can't help but play Monday morning quarterback, right? Monday morning quarterback is so easy to get into. It's so easy to, you know, look at things and then say, oh, well, this should have happened or that should have happened or this would have been better or that would have been better. In the case of Crawford, I find it funny that this happens, right? It happened with Earl Spence. It happened, Postal, but that's not at this level, so I won't bring that up. But it did happen with Spence, right? Before they fought, they were the two best welterweights of the era, and it needed to be decided which one of them was the best. After they fought, based on Earl's performance, the win was not as credible. They say now that Earl was a shell of himself. They say now that the car wreck took everything out of him. They say a lot. But ultimately, he took what was his greatest foe in Earl Spence, and he defeated him soundly. Now, for those that want to go back and play Monday Morning Quarterback and say, like, oh, well, he's in a car, he clearly wasn't the same. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if we can ever know that. All I know is that heading into that fight, that was not the narrative from many. Sure, there were a few people that were, constantly bringing it up. And there were even some that were saying that they had inside information that Earl Spence was done and that his career was over and that they were going to bring him over the goal line for one last fight. Now, sadly, that narrative doesn't really go away with the way that his career has progressed since. But I do know that that has nothing to do with Crawford and his performance. And you can say that Earl Spence was a better version before the car wreck, but I don't think you could say that with any certainty. And the evidence being used is only that Crawford won more handedly than you expected him to. And that's just not a good excuse, and you can have that opinion that Earl Spence was damaged goods. That's fine, but it doesn't take away from what Crawford did. And what Crawford did was he took his greatest foe, his greatest rival, and he made mincemeat out of him. When Floyd Mayweather was given the opportunity to do that with De La Hoya, when he was given the opportunity to do that with Pacquiao, who were both made into his greatest foes of that era, what happened? Well, a lot of people thought De La Hoya won that fight. Not me personally, but a lot of people did, right? The Manny Pacquiao Mayweather fight went down as one of the, shittiest fights to live up to, right? I mean, it's tough when you build a fight up to that magnitude. It's very hard to deliver. But, for those of us in this community, right, and those of us that were watching boxing back then, for those of you that were watching me on TBV back then, that we were all saying that fight was past its due date years before they fought. And I don't know if we were right or wrong. All I know is that on the night that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fought, they were not the same versions of themselves that they were when that fight was at its highest peak and people wanted it more than ever. And you can say Tim Bradley win over Pacquiao damaged it. You could say, the Marquez knockout. You could say a lot of things, but ultimately the fight was not memorable. It wasn't very good. It was very one-sided and there wasn't a lot of action. And that's okay, but that is not the case here with what Crawford did to Spence. Same thing with Canelo and his greatest rival, Golovkin, right? And I'm not trying to say that Spence and Golovkin are of the same caliber of fighter, but I am saying that people were just as affirmed on the idea that Canelo is scared of Golovkin because he's better, in the same manner that people suggested Crawford was scared of Spence because he re-signed a Top Rank. Again, these narratives, they don't work by themselves, right? You can't give these narratives without some sort of, backup to it or whatever. Hey, shout out to Jesse. Appreciate you on, champ. I want to remind everybody tomorrow night we will be live for the big Zuffa card. Remember, it is going to be. Oh, this doesn't have the time. What the hell? And well, Callum Walsh is going to be fighting on Paramount Plus against Carlos Ocampa, middleweight, 10 rounds. It's scheduled for. Misael Rodriguez is also on the card, fighting Austin Deanda. Kane Sandoval. That is the fight that I cannot wait to see because that is a fighter who I very much am a fan of. Kane, what the hell happened to my mic? I mean, my cam. Oh, there we go. So anyway, yeah, Kane Sandoval's on the card as well. Emiliano Cardenas, Robert Merriweather III, and Troy Nash also. Omar Trinidad is on the card as well, fighting. Oh shit, he's fighting Max Ornelas. Oh wait, Max Ornelas? Max? Is it Max Ornelas? I don't even know. Zuffa is taking over. Shout out to Sweet Calf. Champ, I appreciate you tapping in. I appreciate you coming over from the Homeboy Shoe Shine stream. You're the champ, Sweet Calf. For real, for real. Thank you. But yeah, we'll be live tomorrow for that card. Tap in. Make sure you're followed. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're watching this, not live, then on playback, then yeah, make sure you are subbed and followed because we will be live Friday for Callum Walsh and Ocampa doing a watch along for the whole card. And then we will be live also on Saturday for the DAZN card out in Las Vegas. Raymond Murataya versus Andy Cruz, 12 rounds for Murataya's IBF lightweight title belt. Khalil Cole's also on the card, fighting Jesse Hart, Philadelphia's own. Shout out to Jesse Hart. Madrimov's on the card as well, fighting Salazar. Let's see who else. Amari Jones is on the card. Zaquin Moses, who we saw last time on the DAZN card when he fought. I think it was October. We covered him live. Yeah, so we'll be live for that card as well. And if you are not fan of UFC, that's okay, but we'll be live as well for the UFC. 324. What I expect to be a very good card. Now, I'll be honest, I don't say this like to be contrarian or anything like that. I'm just simply giving y'all my opinion. I'm actually looking more for, and I told this to Shoeshine earlier. I'm actually looking more forward to the main event of Murataya Cruz more than I am really any other fight on the UFC card. Now, the UFC card's the better card overall, right? Like if we were going to rank fights like A through F, right? Or A through D, whatever. There are higher letter grades on the UFC card when you are looking at the matchups than compared to the other card on DAZN. That said, the main event and what it represents in the DAZN card, I think means more than the main event for the UFC. Don't get me wrong, Paddy Pimblett is in a huge position. First of all, he has been the guy that they've kind of had, ready to take off to that next level of superstardom. He's a guy who I think is a lot better than someone like Sean O'Malley, who's also being positioned to be like the face of the company. I mean, he's definitely one of the faces of the company, but all I'm saying is that I don't know if Sean O'Malley's good enough to be as popular as he is. Like, I don't know if his ceiling in MMA from a talent standpoint is as high as his commercial appeal is. That said, I do think Paddy Pimblett might. I think his might. And not only that, I think that the fight he's in with Justin Gaethje gives us a situation where the matchup itself presents star-making opportunities, right? If you're Justin Gaethje, you know what kind of style he's bringing. If you're Paddy Pimblett, you're looking to exploit that. What would help Paddy Pimblett the most, I'm almost positive I said Paddy Pimple. What would help Paddy Pimblett the most would be a highlight reel stoppage, or at least a stoppage that began with a highlight reel knockdown. He needs an exciting 5 to 10 second clip to cap this thing off. First of all, that would help the UFC's debut on Paramount Plus. But more than that, it positions Patty to have the first big win on the first big card in what's supposed to be this big new era in the UFC. That's a huge win. That said, though, Patty losing to a guy like Justin Gaethje, I don't think ruins it for him at all. I think Patty still has a lot of upside, whether he wins or loses on Saturday. The person I think has a lot more stress on his chest is one Sugar Sean O'Malley. Now, not in the main event, but in a prime position to look good in front of a lot of more eyeballs, perhaps new eyeballs. That said, if he loses, that would be the third fight and that would be his third loss in a row. Can Sean O'Malley afford 3 losses in a row? Can the UFC afford Sean O'Malley to lose? And I say that saying that the rumors have been that the UFC is going to go out of its way to give American fighters shots because they need American fighters as the face of the company. They need American fighters on the top of the rankings, holding belts, right? The UFC was built on the premise of this kind of American, ideas. Like you had guys like Chuck Liddell, who's, very spoke about America and stuff like that, and the troops and things like that. You had what's his name? Ortiz. You had Ortiz, who would go out there with the half Mexico, half American flag, so like a lot of patriotic aspects to it. And let's be honest, the MMA culture and the MMA world has been taken over by a lot of Eastern Europeans. And they're really good, really great wrestlers. And I say all that to say that Morataya Cruz offers both of them. The Julian versus Sandoval is going to be fire. Hell yeah, I cannot wait for that fight. Sweet Calf, it is going to be a solid scrap. There's a lot of good fights on the card, or a lot of good fighters to watch on the card. It'll be fun to watch Madrimov too, see what he's got. Ronnie Alvarez on as well. But yeah, we'll be live for that. We'll be live for the UFC, and we'll be live tomorrow for both the Paramount Plus Callum Walsh Ocampa fight, and we'll also be on for the Rubalcaba and Rivas fight. Joseph Rivas is fighting Leonardo Rubalcaba. And Jose Sanchez is in the co-main event of that one. Let me see who else is on the card. Frank Espinosa's one of the openers. Oh, they got Flavio on it too. 4 rounds. So yeah, makes sense. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all tap in. Make sure that you're following. Make sure that you're subbed. We will be live Friday and Saturday. And then of course we will be live next weekend for what's probably going to end up being like a 10-hour live for me. I'm assuming, because let me just go out, because we are going to be in a situation where the Royal Rumble starts early. I think 1:00. I'll be live for that. Shout out Sweet Calf. Appreciate you, champ. Tap in with us tomorrow. We'll be in a situation where we'll be live for the Royal Rumble during the day. I think it's like 1:00. And then the UFC, I want to say, is like 3:00, or it might be earlier. I don't remember, but there's a UFC on the 31st starting early in Australia. There is an MMA. There's the boxing fight later that evening on pay-per-view between Shakur and Tio. And then there is, like I said, the Royal Rumble. So we are going to be live from morning to evening. Join us. We'll be probably doing like fajitas and like chicken, maybe some beef ribs. And make sure that if you're a wrestling fan, you are subscribed, linked, tuned in, because we're going to have a Royal Rumble Pick'ems contest. I'm going to select 10 of 10. I'm going to select 10 people from the chat next week. And I will do a drawing, all 3 names. I'll do a drawing of all 10 names, and I will draw each one of them 3 numbers. those numbers will line up with the person that comes out in the Royal Rumble. So let's say you get like 3, 17, and 29. Well, then whoever comes out in those 3 spots, if they win the Rumble, you win the prize. So we'll be doing that. Tap in. We're going to have a lot of fun. Got a lot of plans this weekend as well. Tomorrow, we're going to do the Morataya watch along to get ready for the Saturday fight. And then we're going to watch Justin Gaethje's last fight as well as Paddy Pimblett's last fight. So yeah, tap in. We'll be on Twitch only tomorrow, I think. I'll probably do X too, Twitch and X. So if you're on Twitch and X, no YouTube, no Facebook, no IG. So yeah, shout out to Young Tigre del Norte. It was in the chat. Shout out to Machine Gun Matt. Shout out to Sweet Calf. Shout out to SB. Shout out to Stratos. Shout out to Mom Food. Shout out to Shoe Shine and Vince, man. Big of them coming through. Bruce Gas. Shout out to Bruce Gas, man. He's the champ for real, for real. And then of course Machine Gun Matt, 702 Man Cave. Y'all are the champs. Until tomorrow, live for the stream. Make sure you're tapped in. We'll be live a couple hours before the card starts, doing watch along. So yeah, until tomorrow, peace.